Chapter 1, The Man Who Lost Pain, and the Chosen of Suffering, 1/2. Ah, so gross. Dizzy. What happened to me? Lucy felt like he'd been tumbling in a washing machine for 3 days straight. Dizzy and disoriented, he forced his eyes open. Blinding white light stabbed at his retinas, forcing him to squeeze his eyes shut again. He had no idea what was going on. His body ached, his mind was blank, his memories gone. As he lay there, a shadow fell over the harsh light. A stunning woman with blonde hair and a white lab coat looked down at him. She was breathtakingly beautiful, her lips painted a vibrant blood red. Her ample chest strained against the fabric of her coat, accentuating her curves. The contrast between her seductive appearance and the sterile medical attire was striking. "You're awake. How are you feeling, handsome?" she asked, her eyes full of flirtatious charm as they met his confused gaze. What happened?" Lucy stammered, completely lost. He recognized the sterile environment. He was in a hospital, strapped to a bed. Instinctively, he tried to assess his condition. Wires and tubes snaked across his body. He felt weak and dizzy. But otherwise, he seemed okay. Arms and legs intact. Wait. Why couldn't he feel his right leg? He tried to move it, but nothing happened. "Why can't I feel my right leg? Why am I here?" he asked, looking up at the woman. The red-lipped doctor smiled, her voice a melodious purr. "Don't worry, handsome. It's just a little scrape. We've already bandaged it up and taken care of it." "A scrape?" Lucy frowned. "How did I get hurt? Let me see my leg." "See it?" "I'm afraid that's not possible right now," the doctor replied, her voice still gentle. "Why not?" "Because your right leg is in the next room." "What?" Lucy's mind reeled. His already fragmented thoughts shattered. In the next room? What kind of nonsense was this? Had they amputated his leg? He thrashed on the bed like a fish out of water, struggling to sit up and assess the damage. Now, calm down. A lot has happened. You need to relax and let me explain," the doctor said, her hand reaching out to gently stroke his bare chest, pushing him back down. The sensation on his chest and the warm air of her breath on his ear sent shivers down his spine. Strapped down as he was, Lucy had no choice but to lie back, trying to piece together his memories while listening to her words. "You just underwent a kidney transplant. You have someone else's kidney inside you now," she explained. "You might be experiencing some discomfort from the rejection. Just lie still." A kidney transplant. And his leg was gone. Had he been in a car accident? Confusion swirling, a few memories flickered back. Who was the donor? He asked instinctively. I think I'm an orphan. Is he okay?" "He's fine," the doctor replied. "Where is he?" "In the morgue, 1 floor down. He'll be cremated tomorrow." "Dead?" Lucy stared at the doctor in disbelief. "He died because he gave me his kidney." "No, he died from terminal kidney cancer," the doctor clarified. Lucy blinked. His head itched. He felt like his brain was finally starting to function. "So, you transplanted his cancerous kidney into me." Lucy began to struggle against his restraints again. Wait, don't get excited. He had another kidney, a healthy one," she said. "Oh, but the one we gave you was the cancerous one," she finished with a smile. "Are you insane?" The sheer absurdity of the situation finally broke through Lucy's confusion. Even a fool could see that something was terribly wrong. This woman was clearly not a real doctor. What kind of doctor dressed like a nightclub hostess? He tested his restraints. This wasn't a hospital, it felt more like a torture chamber. Lucy forced himself to calm down and think. He was an orphan, raised without parents. He'd left the orphanage at 15 and had been working his way through school ever since. He'd had his share of scrapes with street thugs, but nothing that would land him in this situation, missing a leg and with a new kidney. He'd just been going home from school. Why was he here? "Who are you? What did I do to you?" he demanded. The doctor chuckled, tracing her finger along her lips. My, aren't you a clever one? Figured it out, have you? The game has begun. You're one of the lucky first participants." Excited. Lucy's brow furrowed. "What game?" The doctor interrupted. "You're quite popular, you know. Lots of people are watching your livestream right now. With a wave of her hand, a translucent blue screen materialized before Lucy, filled with scrolling text. Cut off the other leg. Cut off the other leg. This is awesome. I love this stuff. Finally got access. Wait, where did this screen in front of me come from? Can I buy one? This guy was boring when he was unconscious. Now that he's awake, let's see what he does. Ha ha ha. Are there any other events? Hurry up. Chapter 1, The Man Who Lost Pain, and the Chosen of Suffering, 2 halves. What kind of livestream is this? The comments weren't exactly flooding the screen, but they were steady. The stream wasn't completely deserted, at least. Lucy's heart pounded as he read the messages. The dark web. Had he been kidnapped? Don't bother thinking about it, handsome, the doctor purred. Your world is about to undergo changes you can't even imagine. All you need to do is enjoy the game. Why don't you take a look at this? Her hand trailed possessively across his chest as she opened another video. It showed her sawing off Lucy's right leg with a power saw. Blood splattered across the screen, making his stomach churn. He saw himself lying on the bed, completely still. The doctor's crimson lips curled into a grotesque, almost rapturous smile as she watched the recording. Her cheeks flushed, and her eyes glittered. Lucy could even feel her hand trembling slightly, as if barely suppressing a manic excitement. This woman was definitely a psychopath. Well, isn't it exciting? She breathed. Aren't you wondering why you didn't feel any pain? She gestured towards the machine connected to his body. She spoke as if answering his unspoken questions, but it felt more like she was indulging some twisted fantasy. Recognize this? Of course not. It's at least 3 centuries ahead of anything on your little planet. It manipulates your nervous system. Right now, it's in pain mode, controlling your pain receptors. I turned it off so it would be easier to amputate. But now, she finally removed her wandering hand from his chest and placed it on the machine, giving him a predatory grin. Now that you're awake, let's see if we can make things a little more entertaining. With a flourish, she closed her eyes and pressed a button. His pain receptors should have been reactivated. Silence. Lucy. The doctor froze, as did everyone watching the livestream. It was as if time itself had stopped. The expected screams of agony never came. The doctor's expression betrayed her confusion as she stared at Lucy's calm gaze. Is something wrong? Lucy asked tentatively. Nervous system manipulation. Should he tell her he was born without the ability to feel pain? You don't feel it. She stammered, staring at him in disbelief. Feel what? The pain. In your leg. My leg's in the next room. Can't really feel it, Lucy replied dryly. The doctor's face contorted in rage. Fine. Have it your way. Let's see how long you can keep this up. She slammed her hand on the machine's controls, and the device whirred to life, glowing crimson. She cranked the dial to maximum. The most excruciating pain imaginable should have been coursing through his body, enough to shatter the strongest will. She anticipated screams, convulsions, begging, sweet sounds of suffering. None of that happened. Lucy twitched slightly when the machine activated and then remained impassive. He continued to calmly assess his surroundings, looking for an escape route. Theoretically speaking, shouldn't I be reacting somehow? He asked mildly. His calm words were like a spark igniting the doctor's fury. She let out a chilling laugh. Very well, you asked for this. With a sudden, acrobatic move, she vaulted onto the bed, pinning him beneath her. Her lab coat fell open, revealing a scandalously skimpy outfit underneath. Lucy blinked, momentarily stunned by the flash of white and the sudden weight of her body pressing down on him. The combination of pressure and, well, other things, was overwhelming. Lucy. Whoa. Lady, what are you doing? Wait, this. He started struggling, his face flushing crimson. He wanted to say something witty, but this seemed like a bad time to crack jokes. Besides, it felt a little forward to encourage her on their first meeting. The doctor's face was a mask of twisted glee. I hope you're ready, she hissed. Entertain me. The machine roared, its red light intensifying. A strange tingling sensation washed over Lucy. A voice echoed in his mind. Threshold breached. Unlocking. Binding. Initializing. Chosen of suffering. Pain value +9. Initial gene lock. Ready to unlock. Required pain value, 11/100ths. Huh, what? This time, it was Lucy's turn to be confused. Chapter 2, pain equals points plus no pain equals all the points 1/2. Slam. Asterisk. Lucy's face was still frozen in confusion as he pondered the voice in his head. Suddenly, the doctor's hand lashed out, striking him across the face like a sledgehammer. He grunted involuntarily. He realized with a jolt that this woman possessed incredible strength, far beyond what he could resist. Huff, huff. The doctor panted, her eyes burning with a mixture of rage and perverse delight as she looked down at him, trapped beneath her like a fish on a chopping block. Her prey's unexpected resilience had ruined her plans, shattering the exquisite scenario she'd envisioned. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Why aren't you affected? She growled, her powerful hands tightening around him. Lucy's eyes widened. He could feel his muscles straining, tearing under the force of her grip. This was no ordinary human strength. He was completely at her mercy, strapped down and helpless. Being immune to pain didn't mean he couldn't be crushed to death. Thinking fast, he looked into her furious eyes and understood. He had to play along. Og! He shrieked, a theatrical performance of agony. He writhed on the bed. It hurts. It hurts so much. I forgot for a second. Og! The doctor blinked, her rage momentarily replaced by confusion. Forgot. Seriously, how could anyone forget excruciating pain? Still, the sight of his apparent suffering seemed to appease her somewhat. A cruel smile spread across her face as she reached for the machine again, momentarily forgetting her other intentions. The red light flared. Chosen of suffering, pain value +8. Initial gene lock, ready to unlock. Required pain value, 19/100ths. The voice echoed in Lucy's mind again. Time to ramp up the performance. He let out another cry, even more exaggerated than the last. He'd never felt pain in his life, so this was the best he could manage. He had no clear escape plan yet. His only option was to play along with this bizarre pain point system, get to 100, and see what this gene lock was all about. Despite the unconvincing nature of his cries, the doctor seemed much happier. She let out a sigh of satisfaction, the murderous glint in her eyes fading as she resumed her predatory smile. She continued to press buttons on the machine, adjusting her position on top of him. As she moved, more and more of her lab coat slipped away, the remaining scraps of fabric barely concealing her skin. Her posture, her expression, the strategically placed clothing, everyone watching the livestream knew what was coming next. Holy crap, the doctor's stacked. Couldn't tell under that lab coat. My apologies, ma'am. 1 minute she's sawing off legs, the next she's about to, Wait, is anyone else noticing how fake this guy's screams are? He's totally faking it. Some viewers were starting to catch on. But the doctor was too caught up in the moment to notice. Chosen of suffering, pain value +8. Chosen of suffering, pain value +9. Ellipsis. Wave after wave of agonizing stimuli, enough to break a normal person's mind, washed over Lucy without effect. He continued to ham it up, racking up pain points. Og, is that the highest setting? He gasped. Is there a higher one? Any more and I might die. Don't push it. Dude, you suck at this. Chapter 2, pain equals points plus no pain equals all the points 2/2. This is getting awkward. He's not even trying anymore. See, this is why those foreign films are so unrealistic. Hey, some of us like those foreign films. The doctor's smile faltered. Even through the haze of lust, something felt off. She reveled in the involuntary spasms and reactions of her victims, the uncontrolled displays of agony. But this man, he showed none of those signs. This was the second time he'd pulled her out of her pleasurable reverie. Are you playing with me? She hissed. Are you asking if I want to be played with? Lucy replied. Slam. Asterisk. The doctor's hand slammed down on the machine, the red light flaring. She'd officially lost her patience. You've annoyed me, little man. I don't know what your deal is, but you've ruined my fun. She reached under her minimal attire and pulled out a knife. Hold on, where did you even pull that from? Lucy blurted out. Shink. Asterisk. A flash of steel, a swift downward motion, and then a burst of crimson. Before Lucy could finish his sentence, the knife plunged into his chest. Chosen of suffering, pain value +2. The low pain value indicated the stab wound was far less agonizing than the machine, but the sudden, sharp intrusion startled him. He might not feel pain, but he could still die. I'm not sure I want to play nice anymore, the doctor purred, adjusting her position and grinding against him. She began to move the knife, dragging it across his skin like a paintbrush dipped in crimson. Chosen of suffering, pain value +2. Chosen of suffering, pain value +1. I was going to have some real fun with you, she whispered, her voice dripping with malice. But you've made me angry. So now, I think I'll remove it first. I wonder if your expression will still be so blank. Her words were meant to torment, to inflict psychological pain on top of the physical. She smirked, enjoying his increasingly grim expression. The pain value slowly ticked upwards, but Lucy knew he was running out of time. Her other hand reached for his pants. Of all the ways he'd imagined a woman undressing him for the first time, this wasn't it. Through the room, crack, snapping the doctor's attention back to his face. She looked down to see a splash of crimson on her thigh. Lucy's fingernails were digging into the metal restraints, as if he were trying to crush them with his bare hands. But it was his nails that were giving way. She looked back up at his face. Still impassive. What are you doing? Even she, accustomed to scenes of torture, felt a flicker of unease. Lucy smiled. He didn't feel the pain. He only cared about the notification that accompanied the snapping of his nails. Chosen of suffering, pain value +4. Crack, crack, asterisk. One after another, the nails on his left hand tore away. Chosen of suffering, pain value +3. Ellipsis. Gene lock, ready to unlock. Required pain value, 101/100ths. Conditions met. Gene lock unlocked. Boom. Asterisk. A jolt of energy surged through Lucy's mind, like a gate bursting open. The unbreakable steel restraints that held him captive snapped apart. Chapter 3 Special Event Reward, World First. 1/2. Gene lock, activated. Every cell felt like it was burning, his heart thrumming like a combustion engine. The sensation of transformation, the sheer power surging through him, told Lucy that something unprecedented was happening. Strength, raw and untamed, followed. Metal shrieked. The alloy handcuffs, strong enough to restrain a bull, burst apart, spewing steam. His arm, radiating heat like a furnace, shot up. Reflected in the doctor's stunned eyes was the glint of severed metal. Both figures sprang like panthers, their positions reversing in a blur. Lucy pinned the female doctor to the bed. He seized the scalpel, twisted, the movements fluid and practiced as if honed over countless repetitions. The playful glint in his eyes was gone, replaced by a wolfish ferocity. He raised the scalpel, aiming for the exposed flesh above her heart. The viewers, who moments ago had been enjoying what they thought was some kind of erotic livestream, sensed a shift. Is something wrong? Did something go sideways? How did he break those cuffs? It's staged, right? What's the next scene? The classic position reversal. But the two figures at the center of this spectacle knew this was no game. Terror filled the doctor's eyes as she clawed at Lucy's hand, disbelief warring with fear. How had he broken free? Carbon-based life form, 18 years, inferior physical energy, impossible. What did you do? Her shrill voice echoed in the room, the veins in her forehead bulging like a trapped animal's. Lucy remained impassive. His remaining leg pressed into her abdomen as he relentlessly pushed the scalpel down, her struggles futile against his strength. The sharp tip pierced her skin, drawing blood. The sight of her flesh, a shape that would drive many men mad, had no effect on him. He was a machine, intent on dismantling its prey. Don't. This is just a game. It doesn't mean anything. Seeing his unwavering resolve, panic set in. A pleading smile stretched across her face. This is the chosen's paradise. You're a chosen one. This is just the initial test. You passed. You did great. You'll get a lot of rewards. You must be curious about what's going on, right? Let me go. I know everything. Ask me anything. What do you want? Tell me. I can give you anything. I'm yours too. You can do whatever you want. Her voice shifted rapidly, from pleading to cajoling, to outright bribery and seduction. But Lucy's expression remained unchanged, his gaze fixed on the scalpel. The half-naked woman beneath him held no interest. Her pleas and exposed flesh only spurred him to press down harder, both hands gripping the scalpel now. He knew that if she could resist him even after he'd broken those cuffs, she was no ordinary. No words needed. Blood welled up. Life slowly ebbed away. You can't kill me, I'm. Crack. Asterisk. The sound of the scalpel piercing bone, puncturing her heart, cut off her unfinished words forever. Only then, looking into her wide, lifeless eyes, did Lucy speak his first words since breaking free. I grew up an orphan. I've worked hard to survive this long. Chapter 3 Special Event Reward, World First. 2 halves. All these years, I've learned one thing: never hand over your chance to survive to someone else. The fierce glint in his eyes faded as he collapsed, his body going limp, into the still warm embrace of the woman beneath him. Guess those victory speeches are best saved for after they're actually dead, huh? He forced a chuckle, then glanced at his missing right leg, the humor draining from his face. During the life or death struggle, his mind had been crystal clear: kill or be killed. But now, confusion reigned. What game? What test? And why was his leg gone? He clenched his fist. The residual power from activating the gene lock gave him a sliver of confidence. He turned to the floating screen that had displayed the so-called livestream, searching for answers. The screen, briefly silent after the sudden turn of events, was now exploding with activity. A game. What game? Does this mean we're chosen too? Why else would this video just appear in front of me? It popped up on my computer and I can't close it. Dude's a badass. I'll remember you, comeback king. Calling the cops. Ellipsis. He scanned the chaotic messages, gleaning only fragmented information. Then, the room began to shake. The screen went black, plunging the room into darkness. A jolt of fear shot through Lucy. He instinctively tried to move, but his body wouldn't respond, as if he were floating in space. A torrent of data, like a time tunnel, rushed past his eyes. Strange mechanical sounds filled his ears, accompanied by lines of text appearing in the air. Initial game complete. Welcome to the global game, Chosen's Paradise. Initial selected participants, 14,569,812. Initial participating players, 1,652,348. Players completing the initial stage, 926,357. Note: true death is not possible in the initial stage, but failure to complete it results in disqualification. Players with perfect completion, 3,549. Your initial stage completion rating, SSS rank, perfect completion. Current consecutive perfect completion streak, 1. Calculating rewards. Holy, Lucy stared at the scrolling text, stunned. The reality of what the world has changed truly meant was finally sinking in. Special event triggered. Killing the initial divine guide grants the achievement badge, Godslayer. Special event triggered. Acquisition of A003 class sealed item, sensory manipulator. Item deemed special, has been retrieved. Rewarding equivalent sealed item, added to inventory. Initial reward points, 3,000. Initial reward items, intermediate healing potion X3, added to inventory. Your current world ranking, 1,726,357th. Rankings are updated after each game. Consecutive perfect performances and high rankings will yield special rewards. Keep up the good work. I'm number 1 in the world. Lucy stared at the 1,726,357th, utterly dumbfounded. Chapter 4 Chosen's Paradise, a global game, 1/2. Perfect completion reward, free body restoration. Please relax. That was the last message. An irresistible wave of drowsiness washed over Lucy, and he lost consciousness. Ellipsis. Ding 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 dang dang ding ding tilde asterisk. An unknown amount of time later, or perhaps just a few minutes, Lucy was jolted awake by his alarm. He opened his eyes to the familiar gloom of his tiny dorm room, barely 10 square meters. The same old second-hand Redmi phone on his bedside table. He looked down at himself, 2 legs, perfectly intact. Was it a dream? Felt so real. He sighed, a touch of disappointment in his voice. Reaching out to silence the insistent alarm, he slapped his phone a little too hard. A loud bang echoed in the small room. The force of the impact startled him fully awake. He switched on the light and stared at the deep indentation left on his bed. If it hadn't been for the thin mattress, his luxury phone would have been smashed. Suddenly, something clicked. He snatched up his phone, connected to the dorm's Wi-Fi, and opened a social media app. The top trending topic, blazing in fiery red, contained just 4 words. Chosen's Paradise, global game. The number of searches beside it had reached a staggering 180 million. The previous record for this platform was a mere 40 million. 180 million, that was a number even the most ambitious celebrity publicist wouldn't dare fabricate. He clicked on the topic and started scrolling through the countless news articles. Starting at midnight, large numbers of people vanished without a trace. A Canadian airliner crashed after the pilot and co-pilot disappeared from the cockpit. Live streams appeared on phones, computers, and other electronic devices, even projected directly onto people's retinas, impossible to close. A man in Australia displayed superhuman abilities, claiming to have achieved perfect completion in the game. He declared a new era and his future reign over the world. Numerous individuals claim to be chosen, but deny being forced into the game, stating they can join voluntarily later. Experts suggest a possible mass delusion. Police are investigating and urge anyone who participated in the game to contact authorities. Ellipsis. The screen was flooded with reports, many from official media outlets, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Lucy noticed that the earliest reports were less than 20 hours old, yet the news had already spread like wildfire. It dominated the entire platform, with every other news item buried beneath it. Self-proclaimed experts and cryptic videos filled the feed. This was the first time everyone was witnessing, firsthand, what a world-altering event looked like. And Lucy was not only among the first to experience it, he was number 1. Chapter 4 Chosen's Paradise, a global game, 2 halves. So, the next game starts in 2 days. According to the news, time in the game flows concurrently with the real world. If participants vanish into the game, it's more like teleportation than just a mental experience. Lucy muttered to himself as he gathered information. He suddenly realized that despite being ranked first, he knew almost nothing. Other players online seemed to have a lot more information. According to what he'd seen, there was supposed to be a guide in the initial game, but he'd killed her. It was the first time he'd taken a life, yet he felt strangely devoid of guilt. He had a growing sense that the world's moral compass and existing order were about to be completely upended. After about half an hour, the realization that he was late hit him. He jumped out of bed and rushed through his morning routine. 5 minutes later, he was out the door. "Hey, Xiao Lu, late today, huh? Thought you'd already left." Old Man Wang, the dorm supervisor, greeted him as he tidied up. Most of the students had already gone. Being an orphan and on financial aid, Lucy lived in a converted janitor's closet within the dorm building. The conditions were poor, but it saved him money and spared him from the complexities of social interactions. Yeah, gotta run," he mumbled. Lucy, already late, stood at the door of Class 7, Grade 12. The classroom atmosphere was different today, charged with a restless energy. Mr. Lu, their homeroom teacher, stood at the front, but the students were all talking amongst themselves. He seemed oblivious, engrossed in his phone. Lucy's announcement silenced the room. Every eye turned towards him, and Mr. Lu finally looked up. The silence stretched for a full 5 seconds before Mr. Lu took a deep breath and asked, "Why are you late?" Lucy had never received this level of attention for being late. He stammered, "Overslept." The classroom instantly erupted back into chatter, punctuated by a collective groan. Mr. Lu's face fell. He'd hoped one of his students might be one of the rumored chosen. According to the reports, the game had ended around the time Lucy would have woken up. Seeing that he was no longer the center of attention, Lucy slipped into his seat. The entire class, consumed by the news, had abandoned their studies. An excited buzz filled the air, a palpable anticipation for the coming new world. "All right, settle down everyone," Mr. Lu announced. Following instructions from the school and the Ministry of Education, classes are suspended today for discussions and organization. Future class schedules are pending, and even the college entrance exams are uncertain. Right now, that matter takes precedence over everything. His serious tone did little to dampen the students' excitement. If anything, they seemed even more energized. Now, I'm sure you all know what I'm referring to. Chosen's paradise. Has anyone in this class been chosen? Become one of these chosen ones. Chapter 5. Smooth, long, and pale, can I touch? 1/2. When Mr. Liu asked his question, Lucy instinctively ducked his head, scanning the room with his peripheral vision. The class erupted into a frenzy of excited chatter, everyone looking around, trying to spot a first-hand participant. Lucy kept his head down. He was a loner, his presence usually unnoticed. A global supernatural event, unexplainable by science. Until we know more, keeping quiet is the smart move. No one would be stupid enough to reveal themselves. Sir, I was chosen. A boy by the window shot his hand up, a triumphant grin plastered across his face. He'd been the center of a gaggle of classmates before Mr. Liu's announcement. Lucy's thoughts screeched to a halt. The boy was Zhang Dao, someone Lucy had little interaction with. A rich kid who liked to flaunt his family's wealth. He'd tried to bully Lucy once, early on, but backed off after getting a taste of Lucy's fists. Despite his inner disbelief at Zhang Dao's foolishness, Lucy glanced over, curious about another chosen one's perspective. Oh, Mr. Liu's eyes lit up. Zhang Dao, you were chosen. Did you participate directly, or were you a spectator? I was a spectator, Zhang Dao admitted sheepishly, then quickly added, but I'm eligible to participate in the next game. A chorus of "Whoa!" rippled through the class. The mundane routine of senior year had been shattered by this world-altering event. Zhang Dao basked in the envious stares, a smug grin stretching across his face. Anyone else? Mr. Liu typed a message on his phone, then addressed the class again. Please be honest. This is important, for the country, and for yourselves. Silence. No one else raised their hand. Okay, everyone study quietly. Zhang Dao, come with me. Zhang Dao strutted out of the classroom, puffed up like a conquering hero. Damn, I'm so jealous. Why him? Zhang Dao never studies, Mr. Liu's always calling him out for it, and now he's being all polite. Supernatural. Study. Science can't explain it, so who are you going to learn from? There are videos online. Haven't you seen them? The game takes place in some other dimension where you can get superpowers. Superpowers? Really? Do we have a chance of getting chosen later? Weren't they talking about a first batch of chosen ones? With Mr. Liu gone, the class devolved into a chaotic buzz, everyone sharing the latest news and videos. Lucy was initially puzzled by their excitement. His experience in the so-called game had been anything but fun. Strapped to an operating table, his leg amputated, a kidney removed, his insides ripped open by a deranged woman. It was only his lifelong lack of pain sensitivity and years of hardship that allowed him to endure it. That, and the sudden activation of his pain-chosen ability. Most normal students wouldn't have lasted a minute under that kind of torture. But gradually, listening to his classmates, Lucy realized something. Everyone's initial game seemed to be different. Chapter 5. Smooth, long, and pale, can I touch? 2 halves. While most games seemed to involve tests of character, his experience of brutal torture seemed to be an outlier. And the game's closing message had been clear: true death is not possible in the initial stage, but failure to complete it results in disqualification. Asterisk. Implying that in later stages, death was a very real possibility. Yet none of his classmates seemed aware of, or concerned by, this. They treated Chosen's Paradise like a video game, eager to level up and gain powers, without a thought for the consequences. Having experienced it firsthand, Lucy understood the brutal reality: this was a fight for survival. I just saw a video, some American player said they have a temporary ranking system. This Special Forces guy said he ranked 67th and got a physical enhancement reward. He can bend bottle caps with his fingers now, super strength. Really? So, if he keeps playing, he could become a superhero. Ellipsis quote. Lu Ce listened to the chatter in silence. He reached into his desk and picked up a bottle cap. He squeezed. The metal crumpled in his hand like paper, effortlessly crushed into a small ball. A slight smile played on his lips. He savored the power in his hand. The game was brutal, twisted, but Lu Ce only wished it were more twisted. Compared to the restrictive rules of the real world, he preferred this new reality, where survival depended on your own strength and cunning. Hey, what are you smiling about? Good dream last night. A cheerful voice startled him out of his increasingly morbid thoughts. It was Xie Antong, his deskmate. They'd sat next to each other for 3 years. Lu Ce's upbringing had given him a keen eye for reading people. Although Xie Antong wasn't arrogant, her clothes and mannerisms told him they were from different worlds. But the more he tried to keep his distance, the more she seemed determined to tease him. Nothing. Just remembered something funny, he mumbled, hiding the crushed bottle cap in his desk without turning to face her. Suddenly, he felt a tickle at his ear. Xie Antong had leaned in close, whispering, "Don't pretend. You were chosen too, weren't you?" His heart skipped a beat. He feigned nonchalance. "What are you talking about? Why would you think that?" Their eyes met. Her gaze was playful, knowing. He felt a flicker of unease. His initial game had viewers, it couldn't be that much of a coincidence, could it? His pain-chosen ability, the gene lock activation, the cold-blooded murder, it was all far more intense than anything his classmates were describing. He had to keep it secret. He looked at her, extending his right leg, the one that had been amputated in the... Xie Antong glanced down. What about it? Smooth, long, and pale. Can I touch? She reached out and ran her hand down his leg. Lu Ce. Chapter 6. My family has connections in the police. How about the hospital? 1/2. Hey, could you at least try to be a little less obvious? Lu Ce snatched his leg back as Xie Antong, eyes gleaming, continued her exploration. He'd wanted to test the waters. After all, his in-game appearance had been disturbing, especially with the missing leg. But her reaction suggested she hadn't witnessed his initial game. People are great at projecting. You accuse me of hiding being chosen, but isn't that exactly what you're doing? Lu Ce deflected, turning the question back on her. To his surprise, Xie Antong stared at him for a moment, then nodded. Yes, Lu Ce. Just like that. You're telling me straight up. Asterisk. Xie Antong glanced around. Engrossed in their own conversations, no one was paying attention to them. She turned away slightly, lowering her voice. In a world turned upside down, it's smart for a minority to stay under the radar, observe the situation. Then, her tone shifted. So, are you participating in the second game in 2 days? Lu Ce's eye twitched. So, you're just assuming I'm chosen now. I didn't even confirm anything. Asterisk. Without waiting for a response, she continued, whatever you're thinking, my advice is, don't. Wait. The temptation to change your fate is strong, I know. If you had the chance, you wouldn't miss it. But our country's internet censorship is tight. In times of upheaval like this, they're holding back a lot of news. I was a first-wave spectator. After the initial shock, I started documenting everything. I've watched hundreds of game live streams, all kinds of people, facing different, or sometimes the same, scenarios. Some of it was brutal. Stuff you won't see online. The tests, they don't follow any modern moral or legal code. Her face paled slightly, as if recalling unpleasant memories. I even saw a player die. If the game is another world, running concurrently with ours, both in time and space, like the players are actually transported there. Can they truly die? Lu Ce remained silent. Xie Antong's intense gaze made him strangely uncomfortable. He knew better than anyone what she was talking about. He'd lived it. His experience had been the most brutal, the most bizarre. He knew the dangers, the bloodshed, firsthand. Thank you. He had a pretty good idea why this rich girl was so interested in him. A spoiled princess, arriving in a new environment, finding a poor kid who didn't fawn over her, didn't care about her money. It piqued her curiosity. What else could it be? Teenage girls, they're all the same. Still, he offered his thanks. Judge actions, not intentions. Just, think about it, okay. Unsure if he'd taken her words to heart, Xie Antong sighed and returned to scrolling through her phone, catching up on the latest news. People bustled in the hallway outside, students occasionally leaving. Lu Xie even saw a couple of police officers. Online, everyone had a theory, but the credibility of the information was becoming increasingly questionable. Desperate for clicks, some media outlets were churning out outlandish stories, claiming players were gaining superpowers, the strongest now capable of single-handedly dismantling nuclear warheads. Chapter 6 My family has connections in the police. How about the hospital? Two halves. Lu Xie, since when can I do that? Asterisk. He figured he could probably take down an average person in hand-to-hand combat, but against firearms, he was still just as vulnerable. He was too weak. Personal strength wouldn't guarantee his safety just ended. Walking home, Lu Xie found a deserted alley and stared at a brick wall. He balled his right fist and slammed the knuckles against the exposed corner of the wall. A dull thud. The brick crumbled, fragments scattering on the ground. He'd put a lot of force behind the punch. A red mark bloomed on his knuckles, the skin broken and slightly bleeding. He frowned. He couldn't feel pain, so he didn't know how much it should hurt. But the notification for his pain-chosen ability didn't trigger. Is the pain not intense enough? Or is there some other limitation? Asterisk. The pain-chosen ability was his greatest asset. It had allowed him to survive the initial game, to achieve that world-first ranking. He needed to understand how it worked. Having a cheat he couldn't use was pointless. He tried a few more punches against the wall, but still no notification. Then, an irritating voice broke the silence behind him. What's wrong? Depressed. Taking it out on the wall. Do you have to act out every cliché villain trope to prove how stupid you are? Lu Xie punched the wall again, sending more fragments flying. He turned to face Zhang Dao. Zhang Dao, after a day of special treatment, was on cloud 9, fantasizing about his future life of privilege. And he couldn't resist rubbing it in the face of the guy who'd once humiliated him. But the force of Lu Xie's punch cooled his enthusiasm slightly. He put on a brave face, taunting, showing up late on purpose, hoping people would think you were chosen. Out of everyone in the world, how many were actually chosen? Chosen's paradise. Even your parents didn't choose you, orphan. What makes you think a god would? Lu Xie didn't respond. He calmly pried a loose brick from the damaged wall and walked towards Zhang Dao. Did you forget what I told you last time I beat you up? What are you doing? Zhang Dao stumbled back, grabbing a bike lock from the ground. He'd been so caught up in the world-changing events, the fantasy of superpowers, that he'd forgotten he didn't have any superpowers yet. He was still no match for Lu Xie. Things are different now. I could kill you and get away with it. Stay back. My family has connections in the police. Oh yeah, your dad get busted for soliciting. Lu Xie's expression remained impassive as he closed the distance between them. Soliciting. Zhang Dao was speechless. Their eyes locked. Zhang Dao's bravado evaporated, replaced by pure fear. He'd avoided provoking Lu Xie since that first beating in high school, but he'd never been this terrified. Looking into Lu Xie's eyes, his legs felt weak. The eyes of a killer, they're different. Asterisk. Screw you. Panicked, Zhang Dao cursed, swinging the bike lock wildly. Lu Xie, a veteran of countless street fights, deflected the blow easily with his forearm. Pain chosen. Pain value +1. Huh. Lu Xie paused, a flicker of recognition in his eyes as he heard the familiar notification. A twisted smile spread across his face. I think I get it now. Thanks. You said you had connections in the police. How about the hospital? Doesn't matter. You'll have one soon enough. Chapter 7 Entering the game again, the Mask of Sin 1/2. Zhang Dao lay unconscious in the alley, bruised and battered. Lu Xie, walking away, wasn't in much better shape, covered in cuts and bruises. The difference was, Lu Xie's injuries were self-inflicted. He'd become quite adept at it. He felt no pain, and a matching set of injuries on both sides meant the police would likely just chalk it up to a mutual brawl. Being an orphan with no assets to seize worked in his favor too. But this time, fighting Zhang Dao, Lu Xie had sensed a chilling fragility. He could have killed him easily. Lu Xie was pragmatic. He knew he wasn't powerful enough to act with impunity, not yet. Back in his tiny room, he pulled out a piece of paper and began jotting down his observations about the pain chosen ability. 1. Self-harm doesn't count. Hurting himself didn't generate pain value. 2. Direct harm inflicted by an opponent is the easiest way to gain points. Even if he could break free, choosing not to didn't negate the pain inflicted. He considered this a loophole. After some thought, he added a third point. 3. Indirect harm caused by an opponent also counts. Like when he'd broken his fingernails to escape in the first game. Or just now, when he'd deliberately used his fist to deflect Zhang Dao's attack. He put down the pen and took a deep breath, reviewing his notes. So, that's about it for now. This system really needs a tutorial. Gotta figure everything out myself. These are the rules for pain chosen so far. I'll add more as I discover them. He tucked the paper under his pillow and lay down, his mind racing. His tools were in place. Which meant, time until next game, 29 hours 24 minutes and 43 seconds. Time until next game, 0 hours 30 minutes and 23 seconds. A day and a night passed quickly. Lu Ce avoided the excited chatter of his classmates. His mind was already in the game. As the timer ticked down, a voice echoed in his mind. 30 minutes until game start. Please make necessary preparations. Please choose, spectator or player. Staring at the two options, he recalled Xie Antong's earnest warning. Hey, thanks for the advice. But you were right about one thing. I'm not going to miss this. When fate calls, there is no choice. Player status confirmed. Chosen's paradise welcomes you. May your courage carry you to the heavens. 30 minutes later, a torrent of data enveloped Lu Ce. He vanished from his small room. Welcome to the game. Your current instance difficulty, hell. You have 5 minutes for initial setup. Data streamed before his eyes, resolving into a status panel. Game points, 3000. Pain value, 7. Strength, 10. Agility, 10. Speed, 10. Luck, 3. Spirit, 0. Bonus badge, Godslayer. Equipment, none. Inventory, starter pack. You have 1 reward pending. Chapter 7. Entering the game again, the Mask of Sin 2 halves. He was surprised to see his pain value displayed on the panel, alongside stats he could allocate points to. Unsure which stat was most important, he decided to deal with that later. Claim reward. Reward claimed. Received sealed item. A007, 7 Deadly Sins Soul. 7 Deadly Sins effect. Amplifies the corresponding weakness in the user's nature, but grants a significant boost in return. Please configure your initial appearance. A swirling gray mist appeared before him, formless and shifting. An idea struck him. Form, fluid mask. The mist coalesced into a mask, conforming to his face, yet he felt no weight, no pressure. Please choose a sin: pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony, lust. He considered his options, settling on one he thought he could manage. Greed. The mask twisted and shifted, turning a deep blue. Please choose a mode: normal overload. Normal. Preparation complete. Entering game. The world blurred. A sensation of weightlessness, then, he was in the game. He opened his eyes, a wave of dizziness washing over him. He felt disoriented, lightheaded. The air was stiflingly hot, like being trapped in a furnace. As his senses sharpened, he realized he was hanging upside down, a chain clamped around his left ankle. And far below, a churning sea of molten lava. Ah! A woman's scream pierced the air. Lu Ce realized he wasn't alone. 10 people in total, fiery abyss. I thought this was a game. What's going on? Why am I hanging here? It's so hot. How do we get down? Panic spread among the other players. The intense heat, the terrifyingly real sensation of height, sent shivers down their spines. Except for one. Welcome to the game. Unfortunately, you've been selected for Hell mode. But at the same time, you're also very lucky. Each of you has a platform below your feet. And below that platform, is rising lava. You need to free yourselves. If you're too slow, well, I'm terribly sorry. Here's your first escape tool. A mechanical voice echoed through the fiery chamber. A rope descended from above, a single item tied to its end. A saw, covered in crimson rust, its teeth jagged and broken. Staring at the saw, then at the rising lava below, the 10 players understood what "free yourselves" meant. A wave of icy terror washed over them. Except for one. Chapter 8, Hell Mode. The Influence of Greed 1/2. Lucy stared at the dangling saw, only one thought echoing in his mind: jackpot. Pain points, here I come. The real world and the game world were interconnected. In reality, injuries meant hospital visits, maybe even permanent disability. But in the game, he knew damn well that a perfect run granted full physical recovery, a perk that had cemented his decision to join. High risk, sure, but the potential payoff was, for him, maximum. What the hell? What is this? You call this a game? Nobody told me it'd be like this. This is false advertising. I'm reporting you. The panicked shrieks beside him were grating. Lucy's face remained impassive as he turned to the hysterical woman beside him. Reporting. To whom, exactly? Didn't she grasp the situation? Lucy had anticipated some clueless players, but this level of denial was beyond his wildest expectations. He activated his personal livestream display, hoping for intel on the other 9 players from the audience. Instead, he was met with an unexpectedly large viewership, all eyes on him. Is this the perfect run player's perspective? I wanted to see how a pro handles things. This is terrifying. I haven't seen this scenario before. Glad I decided to spectate first. I'll stick to being an audience member, thanks. I checked out the other 9. Only 3 are returning players, the rest are newbies. So this guy's the perfect run player, huh? Lucy now understood. While livestream assignments were random, they were searchable by category. This meant perfect run players would be thrust into the spotlight. Not necessarily a good thing, the world wouldn't just let a single individual wield superhuman power unchecked. Good thing he'd chosen the mask. Still, his mannerisms and habits could give him away to a keen observer. I quit. I'm not sawing my leg off. Let me out. I don't want to play anymore. The woman beside him continued her meltdown, utterly unable to cope. Then, something unexpected happened. A voice, mechanical and dispassionate, responded from thin air. System announcement: the shop system will open shortly. During the preparation phase, you can purchase a quit coin to forcibly exit the game. Warning: using a quit coin results in permanent disqualification from the game. Note: the shop is inaccessible during gameplay. A quit coin, huh? Interesting. Lucy filed the information away, already formulating a plan to maximize his pain point harvest. What do you mean we can't quit? The lava's rising. I'm dizzy. Get me down. As the woman's frantic cries filled the air, a metallic screech echoed through the chamber, silencing everyone and drawing all 9 players' attention upwards. A chain began to sway violently, its groaning protest cutting through the previous panic and despair. Chapter 8, Hell Mode. The Influence of Greed 2/2. The chain securing Lucy's right leg swung wildly, making him look like a monkey performing acrobatics in the confined space. With a sudden grab, he snagged the rusty saw. Hey, not bad chain quality. All that swinging and it hasn't loosened a bit. Holding the saw aloft, Lucy took his time, casually addressing the stunned onlookers. Seriously, guys, thanks for the courtesy. You all just let me grab the only tool. How thoughtful. Sawing off a leg to escape, classic move. Tell me, did you guys actually pay for the rights to saw? His nonchalance made the others question his sanity. Did he not realize the gruesome task required for survival? Lucy, however, from the moment he spoke, sensed something was off. This wasn't entirely him. He felt like someone tipsy, still in control but prone to saying things out of character. This, he realized, must be the effect of his sin mask of greed, amplifying the corresponding trait while granting unknown benefits. He decided not to fight it. Greed, talkativeness, cunning, these were assets in this brutal game. Plus, this persona would make it harder for those audience members to link his in-game self to his real-world identity. More importantly, he was eager to see the greed mode bonus. System announcement: it seems someone has taken the first step. The mechanical voice returned, this time with a strange hint of amusement. System announcement: However, merely acquiring the saw does not constitute a successful escape. Yeah, I get it. Saw off the leg, no big deal. Not my first rodeo. I just think this game lacks depth, you know. No real exploration or anything. Kind of boring. Lucy continued his rambling, practically channeling a supervillain's monologue. Since I'm the first to get the saw, shouldn't there be a reward or something? He finally bared his fangs. Beneath the blue mask, an unsettling ambition gleamed. The other 9 players watched in silence, captivated by the spectacle of a man bargaining for his life while dangling precariously above a lava pit. He seemed to be the only one treating this horrifying situation like a game. System announcement. The game offers numerous hidden achievements and special rewards for players to discover through exploration. Fine, keep your secrets. Just one question. What if I saw off my leg and still don't escape? Not really trusting this setup. I'm swinging around here, what if I lose my balance and fall into the lava after I'm one leg down? System announcement. That will not occur. The platforms are designed to extend. As long as you free yourself before the lava engulfs them, there is no danger. So, sawing off my leg guarantees my escape, right? System announcement. Correct. A wicked grin spread across the blue mask, as if a sinister plan had just come to fruition. With a flash of steel, the rusty saw touched his leg. He began to saw, only, the chain was attached to his right ankle. And he was sawing his left leg. Chapter 9. The Extremes of Greed. Fortune favors the bold one-half. What's the sound of metal slowly sawing through flesh and bone? The answer is, not much, at least not at first. Until the saw hits real resistance, it's a leathery, grating sensation, like 2 pieces of rawhide being furiously rubbed together, one slowly disintegrating. Against the hellish red backdrop of the lava chamber, the leg became even redder. The world seemed to hold its breath, like a freeze frame in a silent film. The only sound was the sickening, curdling scream ripped through the air. It wasn't Lucy, but the woman beside him. Before he could even react, her cries escalated into full-blown pig-slaughtering shrieks. What are you doing? Stay away from me. She'd entered with a gamer's mindset, utterly unprepared for this visceral horror. Could someone really just saw off their own leg like that? The sight of the masked man sent her into a frenzy, thrashing and babbling incoherently as terror consumed her, pushing her to the brink of a mental breakdown. Pain points awarded, +3*. Pain points awarded, +2*. As the pain points rolled in, a perverse satisfaction filled Lucy. The woman's hysterics were a bonus. He glanced over at her, a note of annoyance in his voice. Seriously, what's the big deal? It's not your leg I'm sawing. Besides, you'll have to do it eventually. Think of this as a preview, might even be helpful later. Unless, you want to go first. He even extended the saw towards her in a mocking gesture of invitation. The sight of the blood-soaked saw and the unhinged masked man was too much. The woman's screams abruptly ceased, replaced by an eerie silence. She'd fainted. Scared straight into unconsciousness by his insane actions. She could only hope to wake up and find it all a nightmare. Honestly, some people don't even bother with mental preparation. Having casually traumatized a bystander, Lucy resumed sawing. Self-amputation was more than just physical pain, it was a psychological torment, a slow, agonizing erosion of the spirit. But the sin mask of greed nullified that mental pressure. As long as the pain points kept increasing, as long as the reward was within reach, this small price was negligible. There's a saying, at 50% profit, people will take risks, at 100%, they will defy the law, at 300%, they will risk their lives. For Lucy, even the slightest chance of profit, the mere possibility of reward, was enough to drive him to extremes. Greed fueled his thrill-seeking, his pursuit of fortune in the face of death. It was intoxicating. The saw was now halfway through. The remaining conscious players, besides the unconscious woman, were pale with horror. This was beyond gruesome, and the masked madman sawing his leg without a flinch, even chuckling occasionally, made it all the more disturbing. It truly felt like a descent into hell. Chapter 9, The Extremes of Greed, Fortune Favors the Bold Two Halves. Dude, you're something else. We clearly overestimated ourselves by joining this game. Another man, his face ashen, spoke to Lucy. According to the audience, he was also a returning player. Decisive, I'll give you that. Choosing to amputate first, impressive. You must have ranked pretty high in your first game. But, you're sawing the wrong leg. Oh, Lucy glanced down at his mangled left leg. Is there a problem? The chain's on your right foot. What good is sawing off your left leg? I felt like it, got a problem with that. Lucy swung back and forth, utterly unfazed. Then, he shouted towards the empty air, is there a rule that says I have to saw off the right one? I want to saw off the left one. What are you gonna do about it? His challenge was directed at the unseen game master, the voice that had addressed them earlier. But this time, the mechanical voice remained silent. Lucy didn't care. His gambit was a gamble, win or lose. He still had those sweet pain points accumulating. The other players averted their gazes, despair evident in their eyes. One unconscious, the other seemingly a deranged lunatic. If they survived this, they were never playing again. The sentiment was convinced of their wise decision to spectate. This is a hell mode game. Glad I passed. Terrifying. Are all perfect run players psychopaths? Probably takes a psychopath to calmly saw off a leg in a situation like this. Doesn't matter, though. He's got guts, but no brains. Most viewers saw Lucy, this perfect run player, as a reckless brute, horrified yet fascinated by his gruesome display. However, some were more perceptive, gleaning information, strategizing for their own future games. One viewer, identified as blank, typed out their analysis in the chat. Blank, you guys seriously think a perfect run player is stupid enough to saw off the wrong leg? Blank, he's playing the game's rules, remember what he said earlier. Blank, he asked what happens if he saws off his leg and doesn't escape, specifically mentioning falling into the lava. Blank, he was probing for all the possible failure conditions, deliberately focusing on an irrelevant detail. Blank, then, with that crazy act, he casually asks if sawing off his leg guarantees escape. That's the crux of it, there are many ways to saw off a leg, including not sawing off the trapped one. Blank, and the game master, misled by the previous questions, confirmed it. Blank, that's why he's sawing his left leg. Blank, it's a word game, but he committed without hesitation. For a potential advantage, perfect run players are monsters of optimization. Pain, their own limbs, nothing matters but the reward. Chapter 10, Fear Clouds Judgment. Let's talk price. 1/2. Blank, so, from the very beginning, this guy hasn't felt a shred of fear. Blank, rusty saw, molten lava, he doesn't give a damn. He's only thinking about maximizing his gains. Blank, the guts to pull this off, extreme greed, unshakable confidence, and that ruthlessness. Blank's comments, sporadic and thoughtful, seemed to give the other viewers pause. The barrage of comments on Lucy's stream thinned out as everyone digested his analysis. They'd been watching for the spectacle, but Blank's words revealed a deeper layer they'd all missed. Hold on, some thought. We're all supposed to be clueless here, why are you so different? Asterisk. Predictably, some viewers weren't buying it. There's always someone who refuses to admit they're out of their depth. How can you be so sure? Maybe he's just crazy. Yeah, and isn't the game master supposed to be an automated voice? How could it make a mistake? Unless there's someone actually controlling it. Blank ignored the naysayers. In the real world, he watched the livestream with rapt attention, recording every detail of Lucy's actions. This was a chance to change his destiny, to gain power, and he wasn't about to let it slip by. But he wasn't about to be a guinea pig either. He needed intel, to understand the game mechanics and the strategies of top players. He'd stumbled upon a goldmine. I need to connect with this guy, asterisk he thought, build a relationship. Casually, he typed a response. Blank, think what you want. I'm not claiming to understand his every move. Let's just see how this plays out. While the livestream chat buzzed with speculation, Lucy, after a single glance, tuned it all out, focused on the task at hand. He was still sawing. He seemed almost relaxed, like he was completing a satisfying project, or engaging in a bizarre hobby. He wasn't rushing. He was farming pain points. He'd racked up over 20 so far. For the first time, he felt grateful for his leg. A perfect run meant full recovery. The rising pain point counter-validated his actions. A limb was a small price to pay. While he was unfazed, the others were suffering. The woman who'd fainted had regained consciousness, only to be overcome by violent nausea. The others weren't faring much better, sweating profusely, faces pale, desperately trying to avoid looking at Lucy. The sweltering heat, the life-or-death stakes, the gruesome spectacle, and the unsettling presence of their seemingly psychopathic companion, it all combined to create a truly hellish experience. Pain points awarded, +1*. Finally, noticing the diminishing returns, Lucy realized he'd milked the sawing for all it was worth. With a final, almost nonchalant pull, he detached his left leg. He held the bloody limb, examining it for a moment, then muttered, "I'm guessing this performance warrants some bonus points, right? Regenerating a limb has gotta require better, more advanced stuff than just reattaching it, right?" Chapter 10, Fear Cloud's Judgment. Let's talk price. 2 halves. He tossed the severed leg into the lava below without a second thought. "Ha, done. Hey, anyone there? Didn't you say sawing off a leg would free me?" His taunting voice echoed through the chamber. He was laying down his terms. Silence. Just when Lucy thought his gamble had failed, the voice returned, colder and more mechanical than before, devoid of any previous hint of personality. System announcement. The relevant rule exploit has been patched. System announcement. Player, Lucy, has successfully exploited a system vulnerability. Awarding the System Exploiter badge. System announcement. Rewards will be distributed at the end of the game. The system's pronunciation of Lucy was deliberately garbled, protecting his identity from the other players. After the announcement, there was no further communication, as if the game master was wary of being manipulated again. Lucy, unfazed, let a self-satisfied smirk form on his masked face. He stretched languidly, still hanging upside down. Not bad at all. Not completely stingy. The only sound in the lava chamber was the bubbling magma. The other players remained stunned, speechless. They hadn't been witnessing a self-harming lunatic, but a cold, calculating manipulator who would stop at nothing for an advantage. Their first game, and they'd encountered this. The livestream chat exploded. Blank's earlier analysis suddenly made perfect sense. The viewers were in awe. A chorus of asterisk, holy shit, and badass, asterisk filled the chat. But looking at the gruesome stump of Lucy's leg, the dominant emotion wasn't admiration, but a chilling mix of awe and fear. Unconcerned with their reactions, Lucy, after catching his breath, didn't immediately make his escape. Instead, he spoke again. "Honestly, I don't get you guys. Why haven't you figured this out yet?" The other 9 players looked up, bewildered. "You're treating this like some noble sacrifice. Have you noticed the rising lava? What is this?" He gestured with the saw. "Do you think this is an instrument of pain and suffering? This is a game, and this," he held up the saw, "is the key to winning. And none of you even tried to grab it when I had the chance. Fear clouds your judgment. This, hell mode, game has been surprisingly easy. Hope I get more opportunities like this." The greed mask seemed to have amplified his talkativeness along with his avarice. His words, however, sent shivers down the spines of the other players, despite the oppressive heat. "All right, enough chit-chat," Lucy said, twirling the saw playfully. "Anyone still interested in sawing off a leg? Let's talk price." Chapter 11. The Evil of Human Nature, a sudden killing in the air, causing everyone's faces to drain of color. Their expressions shifted between bewilderment and unease as they stared at him, still casually swinging back and forth. Meanwhile, in the real world, Blank, who had been meticulously observing Lucy's every move, slammed his fist on the table and yelled in excitement, "Damn! I knew it." His previous probing wasn't just about maximizing profit. There was a deeper meaning. He was testing the rules of this game, figuring out what controls this sudden appearance, a machine, an omnipotent god, or maybe even aliens. This kind of exploration is crucial for the whole world, and this guy managed to do it subtly, even while lining his own pockets. And his previous ruthlessness also serves as a deterrent to other participants, making this extortion possible right now. Blank gritted his teeth, organizing his thoughts, his excitement growing. He didn't see anything wrong with this extreme greed. The world had undergone a drastic change, life and death were now matters of fate. It was only natural for the strong to seize every opportunity to become stronger in the early stages of the game. He started typing a comment on the game livestream screen but slowly stopped. He saw most people's comments and the psychological state they revealed. Open black lens bracket. Is he trying to extort them? Shouldn't they be helping each other in this situation? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Sawing off his own leg was already gruesome enough. It's unnecessary to kick them while they're down and threaten them like this. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. He's strong, and crazy too. I just wouldn't want to run into someone like him in the game. Close black lens bracket. ... Aside from these saintly comments, the others were just praises like, awesome, as if they were watching a Hollywood blockbuster. They seemed to be either projecting strange emotions onto the situation or genuinely viewing themselves as mere spectators. They seemed to have forgotten that they, the viewers, were also chosen, with the potential to participate in the game. They were all insiders. The world had changed dramatically in an instant, yet people's mindsets hadn't caught up. Thinking this, Blank abandoned his intention to send the comment, deciding not to engage with these infants. He refocused on the events unfolding within the game. ... What do you mean? Discuss the price. The woman who had been screaming the loudest suddenly glared at Lucy with pure hatred. Exactly what it sounds like. No money, no saw. What about it? Lucy turned to face her, speaking matter-of-factly. Do you even have a conscience? You're profiting from this. You heartless bastard. I want out. I'm not playing this game. What kind of game forces you to play once you're in? Why does the game master barely respond to us, but answer you? Why could you saw off your leg so easily? I think you're all in cahoots. This is a conspiracy. Look, everyone. He's not some skilled player. He's working with the puppet master behind this game. Whether it was due to immense psychological pressure, the woman went into a hysterical rant, her fear and pain transforming into rage directed at Lucy. Her body thrashed violently, rattling the chains that bound her. Watching her meltdown, Lucy was completely baffled. Silence hung in the air for a few seconds before Lucy slowly said, "You're right. You got me. I am in cahoots. I'm actually an NPC in this game, not a player." Chapter 11, The Evil of Human Nature, A Sudden Killing 2 halves. I don't feel pain. I can saw however I want. I'm here to torment you normal players. So, what are you going to do about it? The flowing light on the blue greed mask formed a large, comical smiley face ********, as if mocking her. This vile woman was simply a magnified reflection of human nature. He wore the greed mask, while she likely wore a mask, forged by years of a pampered life. The weak prey on the weaker. Faced with this bizarre world and its game, even if he seemed strong, he was still perceived as relatively weaker. Thus, she needed an outlet for her emotional breakdown, and he became that outlet. Even though he appeared terrifying, possessing the power to kill her, years of social conditioning led her to believe there would be no consequences for provoking a human like him. Her tactics were familiar, being loud, making accusations, manipulating public opinion, and isolating her target. However, the world had changed, yet some people still hadn't grasped this reality. Lucy looked at her with amusement. Even if he admitted it, even if he was slandered, even if he truly became everyone's enemy, what could they possibly do? Lucy's complete lack of rebuttal stunned the woman into silence. A choked sound escaped her throat, her face turning red, whether from heat or from being choked by her own emotions. The lava is rising, everyone. Lucy swung one leg like he was on a swing, even dangling the saw in his hand as if he might drop it at any moment. How much do you want? Finally, someone spoke. Lucy thought to himself that there were still some people with clear heads. He turned to see who it was. I don't want money, I want. But before he could finish, as he turned his head, a flash of red caught his eye. A man, using the momentum of his swinging chains, lunged towards him. In his hand, a foot-long dagger gleamed with a crimson light. The dagger was clearly no ordinary weapon, it had to be some kind of in-game item. The man's eyes flashed with murderous intent. In the blink of an eye, as Lucy turned, the blade was already upon him. A fatal blow. A grating screech filled the air as blood splattered. The attack, meant to be a swift kill, was twisted away by Lucy at the very last moment, using his collarbone to meet the blade. The dagger lodged firmly in his collarbone, stuck fast. The expression on the blue mask remained unchanged. In fact, the grinning mouth stretched even wider, practically splitting at the corners. Open black lens bracket pain chosen. Pain value +5, close black lens bracket. He hadn't expected such a pleasant surprise at this juncture. Kill him. Quick. Kill him. The woman beside them thrashed violently, screaming in excitement. The man, his eyes still filled with murderous intent, seeing his initial attack succeed, prepared to press his advantage. But in an instant, the commotion ended, the woman's excited cries catching in her throat. A line of blood appeared on the man's neck. With a casual flick of the saw, Lucy moved at a speed imperceptible to the naked eye. Only the terrifying whoosh of displaced air remained. Too bad. You only get one shot. And thanks for the knife. Chapter 12. An iconic scene. I cut off his leg, and he still thanks me 1/2. His words still echoing, the man's grip on the knife loosened. His eyes bulged, hands flying to his throat as blood gushed out like water from a spilled bucket. There was no stopping it. Within seconds, the hanging man was drenched in crimson. The intense heat quickly coagulated the blood. His body twitched a couple of times before going still. Dead. Witnessing the brutal murder firsthand brought a degree of sobriety to the remaining onlookers. Lucy, however, found it rather amusing. Looking at the crispy fried corpse, he even had the mood for a dark joke. This Peking duck cosplay is pretty on point. This place really is a rotisserie oven. Actually, under the influence of the greed mask, he should have used this attacker to farm more pain points. A principle was deeply ingrained in his mind: never surrender your chance at survival to anyone. If someone tried to kill him, he wouldn't waste his breath. He pulled the dagger from his shoulder, examining the weapon description that automatically popped up. Open black lens bracket sharp blade close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket effect, armor piercing. User gains triple strength when attacking, strength has an upper limit, requires self-exploration close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket description. When you don't know what to do, just stick it in, close black lens bracket. Lucy. Huh, was there something slightly off about that description? Backquote. A high-quality weapon. Doesn't seem like a high level, but better than nothing. He tossed the dagger into his inventory, claiming it as spoils of war. Come to think of it, if categorized this way, the mask on his face wasn't a weapon or tool. Sequence-sealed item, seemed to be a unique category altogether. He glanced around. No one dared meet the gaze of the deep blue mask. In places where man-made order like law held no sway, violence was always the most effective form of communication. All right, let's cut to the chase. Name your price. Finally, the first smart one spoke. Lucy turned to him. I know a player like you doesn't want money. You want leverage in this game, right? I got 500 points for completing the initial game, and another 300 for my outstanding performance from the guide. I'll give you all of it to get me out of here. Clearly, someone with prior experience clearing games had a much better mental state. But Lucy's next words nearly made him cough up blood. 800. That's all you have, everyone. What the hell are you talking about? 800 points is a lot. What are you saying? That's all the points I have. The game just started, how could anyone have much more? Didn't your guide explain anything? Lucy, my guide. Would you believe me if I said I killed him? My reward was 3,000 points. Fine, small business, first customer discount. I'll take it. Lucy accepted the trade request. And since you're my first customer, here's a little bonus. Chapter 12, an iconic scene. I cut off his leg, and he still thanks me 2/2. What? The man didn't react. He hadn't mentally prepared himself to saw off his own leg. His teeth chattered. Lucy simply pulled up his personal game interface. Open black lens bracket strength, 10 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket agility, 10 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket speed, 10 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket luck, 3 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket spirit, 0 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket bonus medal, Godslayer system attacker close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current pain points, 28 close black lens bracket. From the moment he entered the game, Lucy realized the primary function of pain points, stat upgrades. Normal players could only increase these stats through in-game events or special items, but Lucy could do it directly. Strength, agility, and speed had a 1-2 point conversion rate, luck was 1-5, and spirit was a whopping 110. To maximize his current abilities, Lucy didn't hesitate, pouring all his points into strength. Strength boost. 10 right pointing arrow 24. His already superhuman strength more than doubled. He gripped the saw tightly, the wooden handle creaking as if it might splinter. The surge of strength brought a sense of power. Looking at his not particularly bulky arms, Lucy felt like a Hulk resided within him. "Hey, what are you doing?" The transaction complete, the man watched Lucy's veins bulge, his right hand clenched around the saw, a disturbing expression on his masked face. A wave of fear washed over him. "Nothing much. Customer service. Let me help you saw off your leg." "Man, no, don't. Stay away from me. That wasn't part of the deal." He struggled violently, his hard-won courage and resolve evaporating. "You're going to saw it off for me. You might as well just kill me. You're going to torture me like you tortured yourself. I'm not a masochist. I'm a businessman with a conscience. Would I hurt you? I'm just experimenting." Ignoring the man's frantic struggles, a glint of ferocity flashed in Lucy's eyes. The mask formed a very human-like exclamation point. He swung the saw. The speed was so great it produced a faint whooshing sound, like a clap of thunder. Crack. Asterisk. A crisp sound, like a butcher cleaving through ribs on a chopping block. The rusty saw teeth, propelled by immense speed, became the sharpest of cutting tools. The man's figure plummeted to the platform with a thud. Only after he was free did the man realize it was over, the pain hitting him like a truck. A scream ripped from his throat, then, clutching his leg, he gritted his teeth and endured the agony. He picked up his severed left leg, pressing hard on the wound to stem the bleeding. Forcing a smile uglier than a cry, he gave a thumbs up to Lucy, still hanging above, and stammered, "Thanks, boss." His gratitude was genuine. While he had made a choice in the face of death, he wasn't sure he could have handled the pain of sawing through his own leg with a rusty saw. Lucy's godlike move made him feel like the points he spent were well worth it. At least he was still alive. "Hey, would you look at that? He actually thanked me." Chapter 13, a frantic bidding war, and she has plenty of time to regret one half. After his little victory lap, Lucy, pleased with his newfound strength, gave a thumbs up to the man whose leg he'd just severed. He didn't seem to think anything was amiss. He'd tasted superhuman power and had already begun to internalize the impending changes to this world. But others weren't so quick to adapt. His livestream exploded. The viewers' reactions were even more intense than when they'd watched him gruesomely saw off his own leg. After all, this was the first time they'd witnessed someone use genuinely supernatural power. The allure of raw power was primal, surpassing money or authority. Open black lens bracket. Holy crap. Did I just see that? I wasn't hallucinating, right? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. That was definitely a superpower, right? What kind of strength is that? Cutting through a leg like that with a rusty saw, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Sorry for yelling, boss, you're amazing. Any chance I could get your contact info? You don't seem to be watching your own stream much, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. This is what makes this game so awesome, right? If it's about superpowers, I want in. I'll risk my life for that. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I just checked other players' streams. Most aren't this brutal. This guy just happened to get a hell mode instance, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Fortune favors the bold, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Stop talking big. You wouldn't dare saw off your own leg with a rusty saw, close black lens bracket. The livestream chat went wild. The viewers, previously content to remain passive observers, were now restless. Their earlier fear and apprehension vanished. Some were already trying to get Lucy's contact information, eager to connect with him in the real world. Someone claiming to be a Fortune 500 CEO even started trying to recruit Lucy. Blank sat in front of his screen, shaking his head in disbelief. People were finally beginning to grasp the gravity of the situation. And this was just the beginning. Lucy was relatively tame. Superhuman strength was supernatural, but he still looked human. The real frenzy would begin when people started flying and summoning lightning. However, amidst the praise and fanaticism, someone finally noticed something odd. Open black lens bracket. Wait, doesn't anyone else find this weird? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. If he could cut through a leg that easily, why did he saw off his own leg so slowly? Close black lens bracket. The barrage of comments abruptly paused. After that quiet observation, everyone went silent. Yeah, why the heck? He had the easiest method. I could have painless surgery, but I chose not to, just for fun. Blank and others could rationalize Lucy's previous actions, but this blatant contradiction baffled them. A legion of analysts, like Blank, racked their brains, trying to come up with 1,000 explanations for Lucy's self-mutilation, but none of them fit. Was he a masochist? Or just crazy? Impossible. A perfect clear player, a boss like him, couldn't possibly be crazy. There had to be some deeper meaning they hadn't grasped. More analysis was needed. They'd never figure out Lucy's deeper meaning. After all, he just wanted some pain points. Chapter 13, a frantic bidding war, and she has plenty of time to regret two halves. The first man to be freed had vanished, presumably having finished his game. His disappearance, however, sent a wave of excitement through the remaining suspended players. Before Lucy could even speak, the others started clamoring. Boss, look at me. I'm willing to pay too. I have 200 points and a common weapon, all from the initial game. I'll give it all to you. Just please cut off my leg yourself. Cut my leg, and I'll pay you when I get out. A lot of money, you write the check yourself. Cut mine. Cut my leg. We're all fellow countrymen, help us out. The players who were previously too scared to speak were now invigorated by the prospect of a painless escape, competing to have their legs chopped off. These days, even leg chopping was up for auction. The broken window theory was timeless. Under normal circumstances, no one would agree to have their leg cut off without anesthetic. But now, after watching that rusty saw work on Lucy's leg for over 10 minutes, the idea of a quick chop seemed like bliss. Lucy didn't refuse their eagerness, simply waiting for the highest bids. After all, those who participated in the initial game but didn't clear it still had some points. Some even offered to sign contracts within the game, promising Lucy a share of their future earnings. Fueled by the greed mask, Lucy had become a ruthless profiteer without a shred of guilt. Chopping legs was fine, as long as they paid. In the end, he acquired a new game item, a bunch of points, and promises of future point payments, all in exchange for severing a few legs. If this were Japan, he'd be a veritable leg-chopping samurai. After a chorus of screams, only 4 people remained hanging. 2 were catatonic, seemingly having given up all hope. Lucy ignored them. Their surrender to fate was none of his business. Another, a previous game clearer, gave him one last look before vanishing, likely using an escape coin earned as a prior reward. Finally, Lucy turned his gaze back to the woman who had been screaming, oblivious to the situation, and constantly insulting him. She had been quiet for a while now. Seeing Lucy look back, she, despite trembling with fear, spoke again. I'm warning you, people like you. This time, Lucy didn't bother listening. The blade flashed. This time, he severed his own chained leg. His body fell, landing on the platform. He reached out, touching the edge of the platform, and spoke to the woman still hanging in the air. "The lava is almost here." Lu Ce vanished. Within seconds, the lava reached the platform. In his final glimpse, he saw the woman finally realize her predicament. A shriek tore from her throat as she desperately reached for the swinging saw, her screams echoing. But it was too late. The lava consumed the platform, but not yet her. She had plenty of time to regret, but no chance to act. People really do die from stupidity. Chapter 14, Loot Distribution Ceremony, the perfect clear player exposed. Regretted her actions in her final moments was no longer Lucy's concern. Now, he had slight regrets of his own. Perhaps it was greed, but as the game neared its end, he felt his gains were somewhat meager. Only one leg sawing torture. Shouldn't there have been multiple torments, grilling them from both sides, so to speak? Hellish difficulty, more like a lack of imagination. Not nearly twisted enough. As he pondered this, the familiar sensation of data flow didn't occur. It seemed that leaving the platform didn't trigger the game's Jie settlement. He opened his eyes to a brightly lit space. The 4 people he'd saved sat on chairs, their faces etched with fear as they nervously scanned their surroundings. The game wasn't over. The hellish ordeal hadn't ended. Just as they'd rejoiced at escaping, thinking it was finally over, reality hit them like a ton of bricks. As Lu Ce emerged, 4 pairs of eyes snapped towards him. It appeared the game was waiting for all of them. Each person was strapped to a chair, arranged in a pentagon around a massive, seemingly bottomless pentagonal column. Its interior was empty, its purpose unknown. Unlike the others, Lu Ce was rather pleased the game hadn't ended. As long as it continued, there was more to gain. His mentality was clearly different. After the previous game, he was almost addicted. Patting his perpetually grinning mask, he muttered to himself, "I knew it couldn't be that unimaginative. The game needs to be more twisted. Control, control." Though he relished the rewards, Lu Ce maintained a degree of control, preventing himself from being completely consumed by the mask's influence. The mask only amplified his existing emotions, it couldn't completely control him. Open black lens bracket personnel assembled. Welcome, survivors of the Hell game, close black lens bracket. The mechanical voice, absent for a time, returned after Lucy's arrival. The other 4 shuddered at the sound, whether from fear or lingering pain. Open black lens bracket. You seem happy. That's unusual. Close black lens bracket. The voice shifted its focus, and the others realized, with a start, it was addressing Lu Ce directly. The game master was initiating conversation with a player. Lu Ce looked around, then asked, "Is it? That's nice. So, any rewards?" Open black lens bracket, close black lens bracket. Rewards, my ass. Are you addicted to squeezing me dry? This is a hellish difficulty game, not a charity. Lucy's simple question seemed to fluster the game master, silencing it for a moment. The lights dimmed, amplifying the sense of isolation and dread. A high-pitched screeching sound filled the air. As the others watched in bewilderment, a black tide began to rise within the massive column. Someone gasped as they realized what it was. It wasn't black water, but a writhing mass of insects, too numerous to count. Chapter 14, Loot Distribution Ceremony, the perfect clear player exposed. 2 halves. Piled on top of each other, swarming in layers, they poured upwards from some unseen depth. And these weren't ordinary insects. Each one was grotesquely alien. Some resembled scorpions, but half a meter long. Others were covered in barbs, their long tongues flicking and writhing. Soft-bodied grubs squirmed and pulsed, some bursting under the pressure, oozing thick fluids. The gigantic column filled with the ceaseless churning of insects, their chittering and buzzing echoing through the space, a nauseating symphony. Soon, the entire column was full. A column 5 meters in diameter and at least 15 meters tall. Packed to the brim with insects. A conservative estimate put their number in the hundreds of millions. The 4 people around the column were pale as ghosts. Even Lu Ce couldn't help but wince. Some people might not fear wild beasts, but faced with this insect horde, master would remain unfazed. This was a double assault on the senses, far beyond what any normal person could handle. Especially since these seemed to be extraterrestrial insects. Open black lens bracket. Holy crap, no way, dude. This is too disgusting. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I can't watch this. I'm out. Checking other streams. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. This is a bit much, honestly. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I'm done. Being a viewer is just fine. No way I'm becoming a player. Close black lens bracket. The livestream viewers also expressed their disgust. The sheer number of insects was beyond the pale of even the most morbid curiosity. Then they noticed something else. Separating them from the insect-filled column was a 2-foot square section of thick glass. The sight nearly sent them over the edge. This meant the insects were coming for them. When will this end? Just kill me. One man, unable to bear the pressure, slammed his fist against the glass. But his rage was powerless. Looking at the insects, a thought crossed Lucy's mind: more pain points incoming. Open black lens bracket players, aren't you honored? The game should have ended. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. However, due to the excessive number of surviving players, which doesn't align with the hellish difficulty concept, there will be a small bonus round. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The fate of this game was originally in this player's hands. He could have ensured his sole survival, eliminating this bonus round and becoming a perfect clear player once again. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. That's right, he's the only one among you who achieved a perfect clear in the tutorial level. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. But due to his mercy, we find ourselves in this current situation. Let's all give him a round of applause for his performance. The game master's voice echoed again, the spotlight shining on Lucy's section, leaving no doubt as to whom it referred. This time, the voice dripped with sarcasm, its meaning unclear. Had Lucy somehow offended it? Clap, clap, clap. Asterisk. The sharp sound of applause echoed through the space, mingling with the insects, buzzing. And the only person clapping was Lucy himself. Well, well, well. According to you, I'm quite the badass. I think I deserve a round of applause myself. So, same question. Any bonus rewards for my stellar performance? Chapter 15, Dividing the Spoils, the Unluckiest Spot. 1/2. Lucy's voice was calm, laced with sarcasm. He brushed off the game master's taunts, even returning fire. He didn't understand why he was being targeted, as if the game had a personal vendetta against him, putting him in the crosshairs. It even revealed his perfect clear status. But he wasn't worried. Being a target meant opportunity. Being singled out meant leverage. Risk and reward went hand in hand. Some wise guy, a Gao something or other, once said the bigger the waves, the more expensive the fish. Gao who? Let's just say it was Gorky. Open black lens bracket. Rewards and benefits aren't given, they're earned. Or rather, taken. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. What you get depends on what you do next. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Greed, you've adapted to that mask quite well. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Let's see if your mercy in letting them live will be your undoing. Close black lens bracket. My mercy. You're making me tear up. Maybe you should give me an award for it, a little achievement badge. Lucy didn't miss a beat, his retort effortless. Watching the back and forth between Lucy and the disembodied voice, the other four felt like bystanders. They could only watch the titans clash, too afraid to speak. Now they understood. There really was a difference between clearing the game and a perfect clear. This guy had been in the top tier from the start. Their gazes toward him became complex. The initial fear and distrust were now tinged with a strange gratitude. He was greedy, ruthless, and had extorted them like a vampire, but ultimately, he had saved their lives. If Lucy had been left them all to die in the lava, there was no reason for him to help them sever their legs. Yes, in this hellish game, a clean chop was a blessing. But what was done was done. With an uncertain future ahead, none of them bothered to thank their benefactor. Open black lens bracket. Now, for the final test. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The loot distribution game. Let's have some fun. It's time to reap the rewards. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. And for the ordinary players, don't be discouraged. In this next stage, you're all on equal footing with him. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. This is a god's game, a challenger's gamble. Here, anything is possible. Don't underestimate yourselves. You can become someone completely different overnight. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Welcome to the chosen paradise. Close black lens bracket. The seductive voice returned, stoking the flames of desire. But it was still clearly antagonistic towards Lucy. It was deliberately driving a wedge between him and the others, setting the stage for competition. Then, amidst the writhing and buzzing of the insects, two pillars rose before each person, within easy reach. A red button and a green button adorned each pillar. Above the insect column, a crimson number appeared. 100. Open black lens bracket. Loot distribution game commencing. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You've all passed the hellish trial and earned your rewards. However, the number of survivors exceeds the intended parameters for hellish difficulty. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Therefore, you will now decide amongst yourselves how to distribute the 100 reward points. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Special note, the rewards are substantial. Close black lens bracket. # Chapter 15, Dividing the Spoils, the Unluckiest Spot. Two halves. As the players exchanged confused glances, a screen appeared before each of them. Each screen displayed a different scene, unique to each individual. Open black lens bracket. Take a look. The desires and aspirations hidden deep within your hearts. Close black lens bracket. The scenes flickered by, moving mountains, shattering planets with a snap of the fingers. Living in decadent luxury, lording over the masses. Someone in Tokyo, on a train packed with beautiful women, time suddenly stopping. A stepsister getting stuck in a washing machine while doing laundry. Something odd seemed to have snuck in there. Open black lens bracket. Tisk, what a mess of interesting desires. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. In any case, the chosen paradise is where your dreams come true. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Trust me, with your limited understanding, these 100 points hold the power to change your entire lives. Close black lens bracket. Having laid the groundwork, the game master deemed it unnecessary to prolong the anticipation. Desire had been ignited. Now, the main event, dividing the spoils. Open black lens bracket. All right. The loot distribution game is about to begin. Here are the rules. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The 100 represents the total reward pool. The distribution method. You 5 will decide by vote. No one has special privileges. Close black lens bracket. The other 4 players visibly relaxed. If that was the case, the gap between them and the perfect clear player was indeed gone. But what about that creepy bug-filled column? Open black lens bracket. And that container. That's the punishment for those who don't play well with others. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The rules are as follows. Each person, in turn, will propose a distribution plan for the points. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. If half or more of the players press the green button to agree, the plan is approved, and everyone receives their allocated share. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Conversely, if more than half disagree, the proposer is teleported into the container. The little critters are very fond of visitors. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Then, the turn passes to the next person to propose their plan. Close black lens bracket. As it spoke, the insect-filled column pulsed with light. Staring at the column, any lingering hope in the players' hearts died. So, that thing was an execution chamber. Surely one of the most terrifying ways to die imaginable. Open black lens bracket. Enough chatter. The order will now be assigned. Close black lens bracket. As the voice faded, a number began from 1 to 5. Everyone's nerves were on edge, some closing their eyes and praying for a later position. For the first person, their fate rested entirely in the hands of the others. Forget rewards, survival was the priority. It would have been better to die in the previous game. This was a game of pure luck. Ding. Asterisk. Everyone flinched as the numbers stopped, the order finalized. Number 1 Lucy. Chapter 16, An insane proposal, is he suicidal? 1/2. Numbers 1 through 5, assigned. Seeing their numbers, players 4 and 5 instinctively sighed in relief. At least, according to the rules, their lives were safe. And their positions were advantageous. If more than half disagreed with a proposal, the proposer would be executed. Logically, those proposing earlier would cater to them, even appease them. After all, those in later positions wouldn't die. Without significant benefits, they had no reason to agree. Players 2 and 3, however, looked uneasy. Their positions were precarious. Facing that insect column, their numbers offered little comfort. Player 2, the only woman present, was especially pale, cursing her bad luck. But seeing Lucy, the supposed boss, with the number 1 above his head, her spirits lifted. It felt balanced. The other 4 looked at Lucy, their eyes filled with varying degrees of pity and schadenfreude. Antagonizing the game master wasn't a smart move. No matter how strong you were still just a player. The game master made the rules. Who was he to act so high and mighty? Seeing Lucy's bowed head and silence, they felt a perverse sense of satisfaction. People loved to build up idols, but they loved watching them fall even more. Seeing the strongest among them, the one who seemed to disrupt the game's balance, assigned the unluckiest spot, they secretly reveled in it. Gratitude. What gratitude? He'd extorted them when he helped them cut off their legs. Lucy's blue mask shimmered, no expression forming. He remained head down, muttering to himself. The others quieted down, straining to hear what he was saying. Outside the long pavilion, beside the ancient road, fragrant grass stretches endlessly. Everyone. What the hell is he singing? Is he losing it? Don't try to understand a madman's thoughts. Regardless, it was Lucy's turn to propose a distribution plan. Open black lens bracket, he's screwed. Totally rigged. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, this is a blatant setup. Should have kept a low profile, not provoked the game master. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, let's see how he gets out of this. If he survives, it'll be a miracle. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, tall trees catch the most wind. Look at the other players' faces. They clearly want him dead. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, stay humble, kids, close black lens bracket. The livestream viewers were pessimistic. Only a few, like blank, sensed something was amiss. A game of strategy. This game shouldn't be a dead end. They watched Lucy, still humming, anticipating his move, while running their own calculations. Lucy was thinking too. His first thought was the effect of the greed mask, the description he'd briefly dismissed at the beginning of the game. Open black lens bracket greed, blue personality influence, amplifies avarice, increases talkativeness and mental agility, promotes cunning and ruthlessness, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket benefit, luck subtly increases, granting unique effects at critical moments, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket description, at the gambling table, the one who wants to win the most, wins, close black lens bracket. My luck should be pretty good, then. If that's the case. Oh, I see. No problem at all. After a long silence, Lucy finally spoke, a smile in his voice, the comical grin returning to his blue mask. Chapter 16, An insane proposal, is he suicidal? 2 halves. It's a shame about all those lovely bugs. Looking at the such potential pain points before him, Lucy had figured out the key to this game. As he was about to continue, a voice interrupted him. Mr. Perfect Clear, I think at this point, we should skip the riddles. I'll be blunt. We acknowledge your strength, but since you're first, you should forego this reward. 0 for you. As for the distribution among the 4 of us, we can discuss that now. That way, while you won't gain anything, at least you won't be thrown into that cage. You were a perfect clear player. Live to fight another day. What do you say? The woman next to him, who seemed rather intellectual, spoke up, seemingly rational and considering Lucy's perspective. After all, she was number 2. If number 1 decided to throw his life away, the pressure would immediately shift to her. It was better to take the initiative. This way, she could at least secure Lucy's vote, sharing the risk. The game master chimed in. Open black lens bracket players, be mindful of the time. Every 5 minutes without a vote, the door in front of one of you will open, just a little, close black lens bracket. The game master's voice, like a death knell, sent a chill down the players' spines. Open black lens bracket, of course, to prevent stalling. If someone refuses to propose a distribution plan during their turn, their door will be prioritized, close black lens bracket. So, what about my proposal, Mr. Perfect Clear? You heard them. We can't waste any time. Player 2 urged, trying to steer Lucy towards her plan. Quiet. Stop interrupting me. Lucy snapped, then looked up and asked, can the 100 points be divided into decimals? Like, could I allocate 0.000001 to someone? Open black lens bracket. No. Whole numbers only, close black lens bracket. Tisk, that's a pity. Lucy muttered, then looked up. All right then, no more stalling. My distribution is as follows. Player 2's heart sank. He was going to do something crazy, wasn't he? He couldn't possibly be this reckless. The other players listened intently. Number 5, 1 point. Player 5 blinked in surprise. Number 3, 1 point. Player 3 wondered if he'd misheard. Number 1, myself, 98 points. Numbers 2 and 4, 0 points. Player 2. This insane proposal stunned everyone into silence. The livestream chat exploded. Was he suicidal? Chapter 17. Refuse me, and you both get nothing. 1/2. Open black lens bracket. Holy crap. He's still running his mouth at a time like this. Discretion is the better part of valor. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I'm starting to think this guy genuinely wants to be thrown into the bug pit. Like, some weird fetish. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Stop, I'm going to puke. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The game master is clearly out to get you, and you're still not cooperating. This is suicide. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. This is beyond just trash talk. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. I knew he wasn't a real boss. Probably just some psycho who lucked into a perfect clear in the tutorial. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Letting someone like this become a boss is a failure on the chosen paradise's part. Close black lens bracket. All sorts of voices filled the chat, desperately trying to distance themselves from Lucy, convincing themselves they'd misjudged him. When a god falls, the clamor is always louder than when they rise. Open black lens bracket. Confirm distribution plan. Close black lens bracket. The mechanical voice returned, seemingly surprised by Lucy's proposal. Confirm. Open black lens bracket. Changes after confirmation will incur a penalty. Close black lens bracket. Confirm. After the second confirmation, faint numbers appeared above each player, reflecting Lucy's allocation. The lights dimmed. Slap. Asterisk. A button slammed, a red light flashing. The moment Lucy confirmed his plan, player 2 hit the reject button. Without hesitation, she turned to Lucy, a cold expression on her face. Number 1, you have no one to blame but yourself. Someone who can't read the room, no matter how strong, will inevitably meet their end. Go into that bug-infested pit so badly, you got your wish. Her voice was ice cold. Empowered by the game's rules, she no longer feared him, openly lashing out. Lucy chuckled, turning to face her. The woman met his gaze unflinchingly, staring at the blue mask, at the man who had instilled so much fear in them. Soon, this devil would die by her hand. A sense of accomplishment and satisfaction swelled within her. The power to judge another's fate was intoxicating. But looking at her face, the smile on Lucy's mask never wavered. There were only 2 women in this game. You're slightly better than the other one. A bead of sweat trickled down player 2's forehead. She remembered the woman who had relentlessly insulted Lucy in the lava pit. That woman wasn't here, the implication was clear. But she died because of her stupidity. You, while not as stupid, aren't exactly smart. And a bit too self-important. Player 2 glared at him, defiance in her eyes. She even managed a condescending smirk. Chapter 17. Refuse me, and you both get nothing. 2 halves. Trying to save face when you're about to die. Meaningless. She turned to the other players. Don't waste any time. Hit the red button. Think of it as revenge for our legs, and for the extortion. Her methods of inciting hatred were classic. Lucy almost laughed. This hellish game forced them to choose between mutilation and death, yet she made him out to be the villain who took their legs. Player 2 didn't care. This wasn't the time for logic. It was about shifting blame and building alliances. Number 4, we both get nothing under his plan. 0. With your late position, your life isn't at risk. There's no reason to accept 0. As for numbers 3 and 5, being offered a single point isn't an olive branch, it's an insult. Reject him. I guarantee, in my distribution plan, you won't get such a paltry sum. With a few well-placed words, player 2 isolated Lucy, turning the others against him. Ding. Asterisk. Another chime. Number 4's button turned red. In a short time, Lucy was on the brink. But he continued humming. Evening breeze whispers through willows, flute song fades, setting sun beyond the mountains. Player 2 ignored him. Her eyes burned with ambition. This was her first chosen game. And she would personally end the reign of this perfect clear player. Numbers 3 and 5, don't hesitate. Make your choice. I told you, when it's my turn, the worst case scenario is an even split. You'll get a better deal. It was player 2's show, as if she were the protagonist of this second game. Finally, Lucy spoke. You say the worst case scenario with you is an even split. But what's stopping them from voting you out after you propose, and then splitting the points 3 ways? Wouldn't they get more that way? What purpose do you serve? Player 2. She froze, speechless. She stammered, don't listen to him. I just meant that's the minimum you'd get. And besides, my plan is better than his, anyway. Lucy scoffed, then continued, if we're talking even splits, why would 4 and 5 keep 3 around? If they vote 3 out, they get more, right? And when that happens, number 5, do you think you'll get anything? Cause and effect. The cause is the head, the effect is the tail. Think about the consequences before you vote someone out. Sometimes, you have to work backward. You're right, this game is about luck. And I happen to be the luckiest one here. Numbers 3 and 5, you have no choice but to accept my offer. Believe me, if number 4 gets to propose, you two get nothing. Chapter 18, a perfect gambit, he's not crazy. Lucy's slightly menacing voice echoed through the space. Player 2 immediately erupted, her voice frantic. Don't listen to him. We can negotiate a better deal. If I get to distribute, no one gets 0. I swear on my character, no one will get everything. We went through hell together, we're practically comrades. Player 2 rambled, almost hysterically, as if trying to cover something up, to quell her own rising panic. Lucy's simple logic had terrified her. Her instinct screamed at her to get rid of him. Eliminate this unstable madman. Her chance would come. Lucy saw right through her, cutting her off with a smile. Oaths are meaningless. Actions based on human nature are far more reliable. What did you see in those videos that stirred your deepest desires? What are you afraid of? Even if my proposal passes, you won't die, even if you get nothing. Yet you're so desperate. Those deep-seated desires, the ultimate prize, you can't let it go, can you? Player 2 was sweating. She wanted to say something, anything, to turn the tables, to get players 3 and 5 to vote. Just one more vote. Then, one of the silent players finally spoke. It was player 5. Since he was safe, he seemed relatively relaxed. I have a question for number 1. Why do you say that if number 4 gets to distribute 3 and I get nothing? Lucy tilted his head, his blue mask forming a perplexed expression _. Do you not think at all? He turned to player 2, a smirk playing on his lips. See, you're not as smart as Ms. Number 2. If I'm not mistaken, you already figured out the crux of this game after I explained it, right? Player 2 flinched, her secret exposed. She tried to maintain a facade of defiance, but Lucy didn't give her the chance, leaning back and continuing. Suppose there's only one player. Obviously, they take all 100 points and go home happy. But what if there are two? A 50-50 split, or something else? Of course not. It's 100 and 0. As long as half agree, the proposal passes. The distributor doesn't care what the other person thinks. Lucy's words guided their thoughts. Player 2's face grew paler, while the others listened intently. Lucy continued, "So, what happens when there are 3 players?" His tone was casual, but blank, and others who'd been analyzing the game suddenly grasped the insidious nature of the rules. Almost in unison with Lucy, both inside and outside the game, they blurted out. The distributor only needs to appease the third player, completely disregarding the second. The proposal will pass. Chapter 18, A Perfect Gambit, He's Not Crazy. 2 halves. The distribution will be 99, 0, 1. Because if the third player disagrees, and the proposal fails, then when only 2 are left, the last player gets nothing. So, what happens as the number of players increases? I think you can figure it out. Silence fell. They weren't fools. Their earlier panic had clouded their judgment. Now, with Lucy's clear explanation, they could deduce the pattern. With 4 players, the first only needs to appease the second to last. Because if the first player is eliminated, it becomes a 3-player scenario, where the second to last player gets nothing. So, the distribution would be 99010. And so on. Now, with 5 players. Though difficult to accept, though counterintuitive, by this logic, Lucy's proposal was unbreakable. He was actually right. But how could he be so sure? One wrong move, and he'd pay with his life. Yet he made this decision, seemingly unfazed by the mortal danger, his demeanor unwavering. That's why I said I'm the luckiest one here. This "you really do" was directed at the game master, for making him number 1. Open black lens bracket, close black lens bracket. Silence means consent. Open black lens bracket 5 minutes elapsed, close black lens bracket. Click. Asterisk. The small door in front of Lucy opened and closed, releasing a few relatively harmless creatures that scurried around the space, chittering aimlessly. You even gave me some little friends. You really do care. Lucy continued his taunts, even enticing the bugs closer. He didn't rush the others, letting them process the situation while he played around, looking for more ways to exploit the game. While he was relaxed, the other players were in turmoil, exchanging suspicious glances, searching for a way out. Player 2 was the most agitated. She was still trying to salvage the situation. This is just the worst-case scenario. It's the game's trickery. If we just unite. She trailed off, realizing even she didn't believe it. Why would they trust her? That's it. Numbers 3 and 5, I can personally give you. She was about to offer them points directly, to gain their trust. But then she remembered. Lucy had already extorted all their points in the previous round. Despair filled her eyes as she stared at player 1 in disbelief. Had he anticipated even this? Chapter 19. Reason may be unreliable, but greed and human nature are eternal. 1/2. Number 2's eyes went blank. If only we could all trust each other, this wouldn't happen. She muttered to herself, still racking her brain, though the solution was simple. If they trusted each other, if they trusted her, how could they end up with such meager rewards? But that very suspicion kept them all trapped. Give it up, too, Lucy interrupted her thoughts. Can you truly face your own heart? Can you honestly say, if I were gone, you wouldn't try to grab the biggest share? He continued, and even if you did find a way to make everyone trust you, to get rid of me and put yourself in the best position, don't you think number 3 would just do the same to you? The light in 2's eyes faded. She realized, with a sinking feeling, that there was no way out. She had thought her cleverness could turn things around, but there were no ifs. Lucy was now toying with the bugs that had crawled in. 1, a scorpion-like creature with a massive tail, climbed onto him at his beckoning. He picked it up, and with a slight squeeze, the seemingly tough insect offered no resistance. After a moment's thought, he brought it closer to the raw stump of his severed leg. Suddenly, the scorpion's tail twitched violently, and something unexpected happened, it spewed fire. Pain chosen. Pain value +6. Whoa. What the hell kind of alien bug is this? Lucy exclaimed, staring at the cauterized wound where his leg had been. He hadn't expected such firepower from the tiny creature. It breathes fire. Hey, not bad for a field cauterizer, huh? Cauterizer. The other players watched, horrified, as he experimented with the bug's power. The already mounting pressure in their minds increased tenfold. Can I take one of these with me? Can I get a souvenir? Hello, game masters. Anybody there? Silence. Whether it was the previous escape game or the current reward allocation, neither was inherently that difficult. It was the context, the severed leg, the lava, the rusty saw. The bugs, the looming death, the ever-present threat of the venomous swarm. It all added up, designed to break them down, force mistakes, and ultimately, make them give up. But all of that was useless against Lucy. Number 1, I have a question for you. Number 3 spoke, breaking the silence, in what sounded like a last-ditch effort. Your analysis is sound, but it relies on everyone being rational. Captivated from start to finish. Even among the perfect clear players, Lucy held a unique appeal, embodying everyone's fantasies about this new world. Most comments were naive, focused on fame and fortune, or basking in national pride. But within that sea of simplistic reactions, some were far more calculating. On Blank's laptop screen, dozens of documents were open, filled with information gathered during the game types, mechanics, undisclosed data, and, most importantly, powerful players. One file, labeled, Player in Blue Mask, was by far the longest and most detailed. Even after Lucy's stream ended, Blank immediately switched to other streams, continuing his data collection. But his mind kept replaying Lucy's actions, analyzing his every move. That level of intellect, combined with superhuman strength and a complete disregard for pain and fear, he thought, the games have barely begun, and players like this already exist, how many more are there like him? A mixture of excitement, apprehension, and awe filled him. As the games progressed, individuals capable of single-handedly influencing global events would undoubtedly emerge. The world was becoming a game. Meanwhile, various organizations, both official and clandestine, domestic and foreign, were also observing Lucy's performance. Note: erratic personality, immense strength, possible mental instability, no fear of pain, even a possible inclination towards it. Speaks Mandarin, almost certainly Chinese. That's probably a good thing. Back up all data, highest security classification, send to the executive branch. Observe, analyze, find him. Regardless of the origin of these games, the top players would become strategic assets. They needed to be found, guided, partnered with, or controlled. In the unseen corners of the world, powerful currents were beginning to stir. Chapter 20, Reaping the Rewards, New Features, and Ranking Announcement 2 halves. Meanwhile, Lucy was reviewing his rewards. Game over. Participants, 5,214,948. Completed, 1,985,419. Perfect clears, 7,529. Your rating, SSS rank, perfect clear. Consecutive perfect clears, 2. Calculating rewards. Special event triggered, induced in-game bug. Awarded achievement badge, system exploiter. Special event triggered, caused bonus game round. Awarded enhanced final rewards. Reward points, 8,800. Reward items, intermediate healing potion X5, advanced healing potion X3, game exit coin X1, epic weapon ticket X2, random sealed item ticket X1, special skill ticket X1. Special reward, spiritual awakening, personal, spirit, +1. Note: spirit as the basis for mastering special skills. Lucy was pleased with the lengthy list of rewards. The God's Paradise games were an opportunity he couldn't afford to miss. Both the pain points and the in-game rewards were crucial for his rapid growth. The next phase of this global transformation would likely be chaos. He needed to be as powerful as possible before then. The mask was useful for wreaking havoc, but he preferred to stay off the radar when he wasn't playing. Unnecessary attention could be dangerous. Let's see what goodies I've got, he muttered, opening his in-game inventory. Including the points he'd extorted, he now had 12,400. He didn't know how that ranked, but it had to be high. Weapon-wise, besides the unused tickets, he only had the sharp one he'd acquired in the game. Not top tier, but it suited his style for now. As for the 2 badges, they were his most distinguishing features. Godslayer. Effect. Grants immunity to all effects except direct damage from higher-ranked attacks. In same-rank conflicts, your effects take precedence. Care about the rewards and wants you dead, no matter what. A loud bang echoed through the room as number 5 suddenly began thrashing in his chair. I don't care. I don't care. Why should I, with my leg broken and after all this suffering, be in the safest spot and get nothing? He yelled, seemingly losing his mind. I want 10 points. I don't care who distributes it. If I don't get it, I won't agree. We can all die. I'm last anyway, I won't die. Chapter 19. Reason may be unreliable, but greed and human nature are eternal. 2 halves. Number 5's outburst, however, was short-lived. A flicker of hope sparked in number 2's eyes. If number 5 was truly insane, if he would just refuse regardless of the reason. Then, number 4, who had been assigned 0 points, suddenly spoke. Number 1. Give me 5 points. Forget about number 5, I'll agree. Silence. Dead silence. Even the buzzing of the insects seemed to fade as everyone stared at number 4 in disbelief. Number 5's eyes bulged. His act, which hadn't even managed to faze Lucy, had crumbled in an instant. Ha ha ha, Lucy started chuckling, the expression on his mask clearly amused. He hadn't done a thing, and he'd just witnessed the collapse of a fragile alliance. Turning to number 3, he finally answered. Reason may be unreliable, but greed and human nature are eternal. You all believe, deep down, that no matter who distributes the rewards, they'll make the same choice I outlined earlier. You want the most for yourselves and want to deny that same opportunity to others. Greed and suspicion are eternal, he continued. Whether I live or die isn't the point. For you, it's about your own survival, about the difference between 0 and 1. What you saw earlier, those glimpses into your desires, won't let you give up that difference. Especially since, after this, you might never dare to play this game again. This could be your last chance to gain something, to change your reality. Lucy's voice echoed in the silent chamber, both a statement to the others and a reflection to himself. No one responded, not even the game masters. A heavy tension hung in the air as the players waited for some unforeseen twist. But none came. When the second 5 minutes elapsed, a giant spider descended into number 3's room. Shortly after, both number 3 and number 5 silently changed their votes to agree. No fanfare, no defiance, just a quiet and spoken pact. Game over. Hell difficulty dungeon, magma cavern, 5 players cleared. 1 perfect clear. Game rewards distributed according to the bonus round results. God's paradise welcomes you. Chapter 20. Reaping the rewards, new features, and ranking announcement 1/2. The game's mechanical voice echoed in everyone's ears as the screens of all the viewers went black. Game over. Please visit other ongoing games or look forward to the next game. God's paradise welcomes you. You too can become a player. Even after Lucy's game ended, the 2 messages lingered on the viewers' screens. The thrilling spectacle of the Hell difficulty game had left them buzzing. That was brutal. I wanted to check out other games, but I couldn't tear myself away. I can't believe people like that actually exist now. I didn't even understand the ending. How did he win? Why did they agree to his distribution? Go play in the kiddie pool, buddy. You're not ready for this level of strategy. Why does he always wear that mask? I want to see what he looks like. He'd be an instant celebrity if he showed his face. The discussion raged on in the now darkened livestream chat, even though the game was over. Tens of thousands had watched receive enhanced rewards for exploiting or inducing game bugs. He wasn't sure how many badges he could equip, but he figured these were a good start. The game exit coin's description was simple. Exit coin allows forced exit from a game. Cost: all items, abilities, and points gained in the game are forfeited. Description: cowards may save their lives, but they forfeit the spoils of the strong. A purely defensive item. After reviewing everything, Lucy decided to save the tickets for later and exited the game. The familiar dizziness hit, and he opened his eyes in his bed. But this time, a voice echoed in his mind, a voice that reached every chosen one. God's Paradise, the first official game has concluded. Special announcement to all chosen ones, new features enabled. Ranking announcement imminent.